Hello everyone. So we are into the second video lecture for matrices, and today we will be discussing operations on matrix. Before discussing operations on matrix, we have discussed various kinds of matrix, types of matrix. What do you understand by elements? एलिमेंट का पोजीशन क्या होता है, मैट्रिक्स को कैसे डिनोट करते हैं, रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन में मैट्रिक्स कहाँ यूज होता है, व्हाई डू वी यूज दिस टर्म, and what kind of real life problems requires matrix calculations as such. Today we'll be discussing how to operate on matrix, how to add matrix, how to multiply them, divide them, and why are these operations required in real life situation. Before moving forward, let's discuss what do we understand by equal matrix. If two matrices are said to be equal, what do they mean? So equality of two matrix basically means that they should be of the same order. Order, if you remember in the last video, I told you order of any matrix is basically the size of that matrix, rows into columns. How many rows that matrix has, how many columns that matrix has, that becomes the order of that matrix. 2 into 2 is a matrix with 2 rows and 2 columns. 3 into 4 is a matrix with 3 rows and 4 columns. So two matrices can only be equal if they have same number of rows and same number of columns. That means their order is same. The second condition for two matrices to be equal is each of their corresponding elements must be equal. Now what do we mean by corresponding element? Corresponding element means कि हमने एलिमेंट का पोजीशन देखा था लास्ट क्लास में कि किसी भी मैट्रिक्स में 1,1 मीन्स फर्स्ट रो फर्स्ट कॉलम में कौन सा एलिमेंट है, 4,3th एलिमेंट मीन्स फोर्थ रो एंड थर्ड कॉलम में कौन सा एलिमेंट है. सो द कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग एलिमेंट्स इन द टू मैट्रिक्स मस्ट बी इक्वल. 1,1 में फर्स्ट रो फर्स्ट कॉलम में जो एलिमेंट ए मैट्रिक्स में है वही बी मैट्रिक्स में भी 1,1 पे होना चाहिए. सो ये दो कंडीशन अगर कोई भी दो मैट्रिक्स फुलफिल करता है, सो देन दे आर सेड टू बी equal matrix. We will also be looking at a few examples now for equal matrix. So if you see the examples here, the first one that I have taken, clearly it's a 2 by 2 matrix. The corresponding elements are 2, 3, 0, 1 और 1 1 पे क्या है 2. फर्स्ट रो फर्स्ट कॉलम पे द नंबर इज 2, द एलिमेंट इज 2 एंड 2,2 पे सेकेंड रो सेकेंड कॉलम पे क्या एलिमेंट है 1. एंड सिमिलरली दूसरे मैट्रिक्स में भी 1,1 पे 2 है, 2,2 पे 1 है, 1,2 पे 3 है, 2,1 पे 0 है. सो ऑल द कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग एलिमेंट्स आर सेम एंड बोथ द मैट्रिसेस आर ऑफ द ऑर्डर 2:2. बट इन द सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल the order is same, both are 2 into 2 matrix, but if you check 1,1, the first row first element, in the first one it is 3, in the second matrix this is 2. In the first one 1,2 is 2, but in the second one 1,2 is 3. So the corresponding elements do not match here. That's why those two matrices are not equal. Now you can get similar problems. For problems we'll have separate tutorial videos. I'll be solving a lot of questions and we'll be discussing those, but this example will clarify what does equality and what kind of problems you can get on equality of matrix. So if you check this particular question, x, y, x, y, z, a, b, c, it's a 3 into 2 matrix. That's the order. There are 3 rows and there are 2 columns. That is equal to minus 1.502632. These two matrices are equal. Now we have to solve for all the variables x, y, z, a, b, c. So if we know that two matrices are equal, then all their corresponding elements must be equal. That means the element at 1,1 should be equal in both the matrices. So x must be equal to minus 1,5, minus 1.5. Y must be equal to 0, Z must be equal to 2, A must be equal to 6, B equal to 3 and C equal to 2. So you can clearly see what a equality of matrix means and what kind of problems you can expect from this particular topic. This is a simple topic and very basic problems you can expect. See, whatever we are learning till now is very basic. We are building towards two things, especially finding inverse of matrix, multiplication of matrix, which becomes a little trickier, and also applying matrices problem in real life situations, solving equations, simultaneous equations of more than two variables, even two variables, so which becomes difficult to solve. So that's where we want to move, but step by step, brick by brick, start understanding these things, solving these small problems, and then you will be clear with what matrix is. In the next section, we'll be looking at how do we add matrix and what does a matrix addition or subtraction means. So in this section, we'll be looking at addition of matrices. How do we add two matrices? Now, in addition of matrix, we must be very clear that you can only add matrices of the same order. You can't add two matrices which are not of the same order. So here we take the first example, like there are two matrices. One is 8, 2, 3, 1, 8, 2 into 2 matrix, and the other matrix is also a 2 into 2 matrix, 3, 4, minus 1, 6. And that is equal to, you add basically the corresponding elements. 1, पे कौन सा एलिमेंट है 2, दूसरे मैट्रिक्स में 1, पे कौन सा एलिमेंट है 3, तो आप 2 और 3 को साथ में ऐड करते हो, दैट बिकम्स 5. 1, 2 पे 3 है फर्स्ट रो सेकंड कॉलम पे, दूसरे मैट्रिक्स में फर्स्ट रो सेकंड कॉलम पे 4 है, सो आप 3 एंड 4 को कंबाइन करते हो, बिकम्स 7. सिमिलरली 1 and -1 gets 0 and 8 and 6 becomes 14. Same way, subtraction also can be done between only matrices of same order, and you basically subtract the elements at corresponding position in the two matrices. So here if you take this particular example, 3, 7, 2, 0 is the first matrix, a 2 into 2 matrix. 2, 1, 4, 3 is the second matrix, another 2 into 2 matrix. Now when we are subtracting this second matrix from the first one, 2 will be subtracted from 3 because both are at first row, first column. 1 will be subtracted from 7 because both are at first row, second column. And 4 subtracted from 2 and 3 subtracted from 0. So we get the corresponding result, a third matrix, which is 1, 6, -2, -3. So this is how we add and subtract matrix, and basically you need to keep in mind that you can only add matrices which are of same order or subtract matrices which are of same order. Now let's look at an example. Why do we need addition of matrices, and in practical scenario where can we use this kind of operations, mathematical operations, in our day-to-day life or business. So consider for this example that there are two factories of the same company, let's say some FMCG company which is manufacturing three products, P1, P2, P3. Maybe one is a toothpaste, another is a surf powder, the third one might be a soap, and they require three different kind of machines. For each product they need all the three machines to manufacture or produce these products. So factory A of the company, this FMCG company, also has the three machines M1, M2 and M3, and they are producing all the three products. So this grid, this matrix basically tells you that at factory 1, which machine is producing how many products of a particular kind. If you look at the data, if you see it closely, you can see that at factory 1, machine 2 is producing 40 products of kind 2. So P2 is 40 and it is being produced by machine 2. Similarly, M3 is producing 71 kind of P3. Same way, if you look at the factory B data, product 2 is being produced by machine 3 is 92. So if we want to know the total number of products produced by each machine of each kind from both the factories, basically we will be adding the corresponding elements. This is what it means. So if total production by three machines at two factories, if you see, then we'll be adding 100 plus 92, that is the number of P1 being produced by factory 1 and factory 2, basically factory A and factory B, by the machine 1. 30 plus 62 is the number of products P2 produced by machine 1 from both factory A and factory B. And similarly, by adding corresponding elements of both the matrices, you get the total production by the three machines at the two factories. So this is what it means about addition of two matrices. So till now we have seen matrix addition and what do we mean by equal matrices. So basic फंडा आपका यही है कि इन टॉपिक्स में कि एक आप ऑर्डर जरूर चेक करना, तो दोनों मैट्रिसेस के ऑर्डर सेम हो, साइज सेम हो, एंड इक्वालिटी ऑफ मैट्रिक्स पे कुछ क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं, एडिशन पे कुछ क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं. एडिशन एंड सब्ट्रैक्शन आर वन ऑफ द सिंपलेस्ट टॉपिक्स दैट यू कैन गेट इन मैट्रिक्स. एडिशन में जैसे ये एग्जांपल हमने लिया था अभी, और सब्सट्रैक्शन का सिंपल 2x2 मैट्रिक्स का, लार्जर नंबर ऑफ लार्जर साइज और लार्जर ऑर्डर ऑफ मैट्रिक्स कैन ऑल्सो कम. सो डोंट गेट वरीड बाय दैट, यू जस्ट हैव टू ऐड कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग और सब्ट्रैक्ट कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग एलिमेंट्स. मेक श्योर कि जो फैक्ट्री वाला एग्जाम्पल हमने लिया उस टाइप के प्रॉब्लम्स को आप बुक्स से ज़्यादा सॉल्व कर पाओ, प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स, क्योंकि जो क्वेश्चन बहुत बार वर्ड प्रॉब्लम के फॉर्म में दिए हुए रहेंगे, and to convert them into a matrix you might face a little difficulty, not much. Most of the questions in books are given in matrix form only, but sometimes अगर statement के रूप में दिया हुआ है या word problem दिया हुआ है तो पहले उसको mathematical form में convert करना, matrix के form में लिखना, symbols को use करना. Just make sure you are following those rules. So now we'll be moving to our next section of operations on matrix. We'll be seeing how when we multiply a scalar number to a matrix, what happens, what is the result of that. So in this particular section, we'll be looking at multiplication of a matrix by a scalar number. If the scalar number is a fraction or a reciprocal of a number, then you can also consider this a division of a matrix by a number. So like, let's take a simple example. We can also call this multiplication of a matrix like scaling up or scaling down problems, scaling up a matrix or scaling down a matrix, zooming in a matrix or zooming out a matrix. So let's take a simple example. हमने जो लास्ट वीडियो में एग्जाम्पल लिया था दो फैक्ट्रीज की, अगर फैक्ट्री ए का प्रोडक्शन आप देखें, M1, M2, M3 तीन मशीनों के द्वारा तीन प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, P1, P2, P3. If you get a question that double the production at factory A by each machine for each product, that means हर मशीन और हर प्रोडक्ट का प्रोडक्शन आपको डबल कर देना है. What does that mean? That it means basically multiplying that entire factory 1 matrix with 2. The number 2. Doubling means multiplying by 2. Tripling means multiplying by 3. So this is a problem of multiplying that matrix by a scalar number 2. And what happens whenever you multiply a matrix by a scalar number, that scalar number gets multiplied to each and every element of that matrix. So the matrix here was 100, 50, 70, 30, 40, 80, 35, 38 and 71. Each of that element will get multiplied with 2. So 100 will become 200, 50 will become 100, 70, 140, 30, 60 and so on. So this is what it means by multiplying a matrix by a scalar number. And that's what I was saying, it's basically a scaling up problem. So when you are multiplying the matrix by 2, you are scaling up that particular matrix by a double figure. Sorry, not a double figure, I meant to say you are doubling that matrix basically. अगर same question आता that you have to half the production, then you should have multiplied that particular matrix by 1/2. अगर half करना होता या 1/3 करना होता तो आपको स्केलर नंबर 1/2 या 1/3 से उस मैट्रिक्स को मल्टीप्लाई करना होता है. नाउ This is multiplying a matrix by a scalar number. If we are told to find the negative of a matrix, negative of a matrix A means what? Minus A. Just like negative of a number 5 is minus 5, negative of a matrix A is minus A. And similar to the numbers concept, minus 5 is basically what? Minus 1 into plus 5. So negative of a matrix A minus A is also basically minus 1 into matrix A. So if you multiply the scalar number minus 1 to any matrix, you will get the negative of that particular matrix. So यहाँ पे अगर आप एग्जाम्पल देखो, एक मैट्रिक्स मैंने लिया है 2 by 2 का 3, 1, -5 and x. Negative of that matrix is -3, -1, 5 and -x. Each of the element is getting multiplied by -1. Similar to the topic that we discussed just now, multiplying a scalar number to a matrix. So this is how you find the negative of a matrix. Now, where do we use these things, negative of a matrix, or basically to do different problems in matrix, like algebraic problems in matrix, equations in matrix. And what does that mean? The next example that I am taking is difference of a matrix. Basically, if you are given two matrices A 2, 7, 4, 1 and B 2, 3, 5, 6. There are these two matrices A and B, and if you are told to find the matrix which we get by multiplying 2 with A and subtracting B from it. So basically you have to find 2A minus B. Now 2A minus B means what? You have to multiply A, the matrix A, with 2, that is the scalar multiplication of matrix, and then you have to subtract B from it. So 2A becomes 2 into 2, 7, 4, 1, 4, 14, 8, 2. That is the matrix that you get by 2A, and subtract 2, 3, 5, 6 from it. So ultimately what you are getting, 2, 11, 3 minus 4. That is the matrix that you are getting. So you can have similar examples. You can solve similar small problems of matrix differences, matrix additions, matrix multiplication. So this is what we understand by operations on matrix. So till now we have seen various operations on matrix. These will become very crucial in the next sections when we start solving inverse of a matrix, multiplication of a matrix. But let's quickly summarize before moving on to the next section of this particular video. So what we have studied today on, or in this particular video, is what do we understand by equality of a matrix when our two matrices equal. How do we add two matrices of same order or subtract two matrices of same order? What is the negative of a matrix? And how do we do basic calculations involving matrices? Like how do we scale up a matrix by multiplying a scalar number to it? How do we scale down a matrix? How do we create simple equations in matrix? Like just now we did two matrix A and B and calculated 2A minus B. So what can be done in these scenarios? In the next section we'll be briefly looking at matrix properties, just like we used to study additive, subtractive and multiplicative property in number system. Similarly, matrix also has a certain properties. It follows the cumulative law. Cumulative law, basically cumulative law means that if you are adding A plus B, it is same as B plus A. The order of addition doesn't matter much. A plus B is equal to B plus A. Similarly, it also follows associative law. A plus B plus C. That means if you are adding B plus C together and then adding A to it, it is as equal as first if you are adding A plus B together and then adding C to it. Similarly, matrix follow has this additive identity, that if you add a null vector null vector null vector is in linear algebra. Here we call zero matrix, or null set you call in the set theory. So here we call it a zero matrix. We already studied zero matrix in the last video. So if you add a zero matrix, but make one thing sure, that your zero matrix should be of the same order as that of the matrix A. So if you are adding a zero matrix to A, then you will get A only. So zero matrix plus A is equal to A. Similarly, we get a concept of additive identity, additive inverse. After additive identity, we also get a concept of additive inverse. What is additive inverse? Additive inverse of any matrix is basically if you add that particular matrix to A, you will get 0. What can that matrix be? Additive inverse of any number is minus of that number. If you add minus 3 to 3, you will get 0. So minus 3 is the additive inverse of 3. Similarly, in matrix, the negative of any matrix is the additive inverse of that particular matrix, because if you add these two matrices together, you will get 0 matrix. So in this particular video, we saw the various operations of addition and subtraction that can be done on matrix, and the properties of addition of matrices, the associative, commutative property, and additive identity, and the inverse identity. Similarly, we have properties of scalar multiplication of matrix, like if a scalar number is multiplied with the addition of two matrices K into A plus B, then that is equal to the distributive property of mathematics applies there. It is as equal as KA plus KB. So that is also the properties that are there in the number system, those are applied here also. And so with this, we'll end the discussion for this particular video, the operations of addition and subtraction. In the next video, we'll be solving a few questions related to the concept that we have done till now, and post that we'll be starting a very important topic, that is multiplication of matrix. It is a little tricky for those of you who haven't done matrices earlier. How do we multiply it? But it's fun to learn, and once you get a hang of it, it becomes very interesting, and that will basically form the foundation for solving one of the trickier problem of finding a inverse of a matrix. And finding inverse of a matrix is very important, because when we start solving simultaneous equation of more than 2 variables, 3 variables, then finding inverse become very important. So we'll start looking into that from the next videos. So the next video will be more of a tutorial video where we'll be solving multiple questions. I'll be giving you the questions and then solving them and explaining you the method of how we solve those questions. So with this, I'll end this particular video of matrix. Thank you all for being a part of it, and take care. Be cautious with what is happening around, and take care of your family. Thank you.